Hello, everybody, and welcome to this matchup between Megawatt and LackAttack24. My name is Kern. I'm joined by Drosy1. Hello, Drosy.
Hello, how are you?
I'm doing quite good. A very, very busy time, but happy to come and calm this match. And just brushing up a little bit on the match history between these two runners, looking at challenge and seeing how it's played out so far. LackAttack was the 4th seed in the group. This is Group V. Went up against Act the Boker and did win a match, but did lose the best of 3. And the same with Megawatt, actually, going up against Cassidy Moan. Megawatt being the 2nd tier of qualifier groups, so between the 33rd and 64th rank, go up against Cassidy Moan in best of 3, and also losing just 1 match barely. And this is the first game between these two runners. So it should be pretty interesting. I'm going to guess it's going to be pretty tight.
I'm expecting the same thing. And what's also interesting is that neither of these runners have that long a history of being ALTTPR runners, but they've both put in a very strong showing so far in the tournament.
Yeah, I want to say Megawatt has been around for at least as long as I have, but I haven't been around for very long, so.
He's been around, but I was just looking. He didn't qualify for either the spring or fall tournaments last year, so this is, as far as I can tell, his first time actually in the main tournament.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I'm not sure about that, but I trust your research a lot more than mine. So, which I haven't performed at all. It's non-existent.
And of course, LackAttack is best known as a Zelda 1 speedrunner, so he's decided to branch out here.
Come to the dark side of the randomizers.
And just to remind our viewers, Game 1 of the series will always use the same settings that we used in the qualifiers. So it'll be 7 crystals to unlock Ganon's Tower, 7 crystals to damage Ganon, open start, defeat Ganon mode. You know, what we used to just call open mode in version 30, but now we have to specify all these additional settings in version 31.
And looks like we got a normal Link sprite and is that a Wind Waker Link sprite?
Looks about right. I never remember which Link is which game. I'm surprised, given Lack's reputation, he didn't go for like a retro Zelda 1 type sprite.
Oh, Minish Cap. Okay, that makes sense. Yeah, the retro sprite is super cool, but the height of it always messes me up. Like if you're trying to bomb jump or even just look at hitboxes, those short sprites, man, those are hard.
Yeah, that is true. Especially because we'll talk about this a bit more if the runners go into Ice Palace, but there's a certain bomb jump in Ice Palace that is, in my opinion, most easily done by lining up the top of the sprite. And Megawatt is off and grabs the sewers key out of Sanctuary. Lack's deciding to start in the same place. And we get a ridiculously quick map check. I saw regular crystals in Hera and Eastern. Did you see what was in Desert?
I didn't, but hopefully our tracker is going to make up for that.
Our tracker, Link Force 0, is marking a 5-6 crystal in Desert.
Thank you, tracker. Shout outs to Link Force for that. Ooh, bombs is the tier 1 tree pull. That is quite nice, especially when you're doing this Sanctuary start is a nice thing to see. Sanctuary start is interesting in that you always need bombs when you go to CAC, and if your plan is to go up Lost Woods down to Kakariko, you're pretty reliant on either finding bombs or money to buy bombs. Otherwise, you need to save and quit, go to Link's house, come the south route anyway. So this is always a welcome sight.
And speaking of money, we just caught a glimpse of a big 20 on Lumberjack, so that won't be playing a role in this seed.
that 10 arrow just being lodged in between the out of bounds area. We do get a book though, and Megawatt is going to go up and check the ped. See if LackAttack will. Nope. Turns his nose up.
Not too often you get a book early enough to check the ped your first trip into Lost Woods.
Yeah, it is. It seems like very early to check the ped, but if you do have it that early, like, why not, you know? But sorry, folks, ped is dead and we're not even 2 minutes in. Stick around, though. Like, I'm sure this match will still be exciting and fun. Don't leave just because ped's dead. I mean, I know that's why half of you are here, but other things could happen in the match that could be interesting, right?
Yes, we could always have, you know, boots on GT Torch. No, not boots on, sorry. Big key on GT Torch and not yet have found boots.
Or like, you
Which
know,
happened recently.
we could see maybe some like exciting execution and low percent boss fights and stuff like that aren't nearly as fun as Pedestal, but you know. See, we get here in Blind's Basement, 300 rupees is and the boots. Wow. These are some great items to be seeing early. And if you started with a Sank route, this gets you here the fastest in Kakariko. So it's nice to be getting these items early.
So we already have full access to the front of Desert. So I wonder if either runner will check that early. Without a glove, we won't have access to the back, though.
Our next big den spot in Kakariko. So far, just a piece of heart. Some rupees. See if we get more garbage. Bombs and heart. Wow, yeah, garbage.
The Uncle Bomb package, no less. Which is a item that was put into Randomizer. It does not exist in the vanilla game.
It's interesting that so far our only progression is like hinting very strongly at Desert.
And Bottle Vendor is a scam artist today. But those early boots do mean a library check's gonna come up next, and the runners can just claim the item if it happens to be useful.
Yeah, that is quite nice. So it's interesting to see where they will go from here. You don't have a weapon, but they do have the bombs to do Mini Moldorm Cave, which is a very common next step in the meta. However, a also common next step is if you believe you're going to be going to Desert soon, you might skip the dam on your way to checking Mini Moldorm Cave, since it's slightly faster to go do those chained together with the Desert check later. So that'll be really telling to see if they skip the dam or not. That would be a good hint about what they're thinking.
And also, if they do go around to the right, those... Ooh, Lack is going left, so he's definitely going to the dam. We'll see what he does after that. I was going to say, if they do go around to the right, those early boots also make it easy to do a glitch called the Water Walk.
Yeah, and with that 300 rupee pickup, it's not inconceivable that they might get the rupees they need in Mini Moldorm Cave, for example. Megawott also coming up to the dam first. So, I mean, I like this thought a lot. Even if you're thinking about going to Desert, you might still be thinking about, like, you know, if I want to go to Desert, I want a weapon to defeat the boss. It's a crystal. I want a fire.
And it turns out that under all that water was a wavy coin. We don't know whether we'll need to visit either of the medallion locked dungeons or which medallions they'll require, but it's always nice to find the medallions early and then know you won't have to worry about them.
Yeah, it is just like a little bit of peace of mind. And Megawatt is making the play over to Desert before Mini Moldorm Cave. LackAttack, meanwhile, picking up the hookshot in Mini Moldorm Cave and the 300. So the exact possibility you were just discussing of going to Zora with a Boots Walk is a lot nicer.
Yes, normally for logic, Zora would require either a glove or the flipper. Oh, and there we have another medallion already. That was Bombos in Aegina's cave.
Now watch as none of the medallions are useful with the pendant setup.
Lack needs to watch his health, though.
Megawott finding out that the ledge contains just red rupees and is heading inside the temple. I mean, this makes a lot of sense. If you're going to come over here, you came over here to check desert.
Oh, but looks like LackAttack doesn't want to break logic. So he saved and quit out of Ice Cave.
Yeah, there could be a few great reasons. You know, like a lot of people don't like going out of logic. And that's a totally valid strategy. Another reason is that it's hard to chain together all of the boots checks, or sorry, all the flippers checks if all you have to sequence break is the boots. You might be waiting for a Moon Pearl to assist you in also checking Waterfall Fairy Cave more easily. But while I was talking, what was that?
Yeah, Megawatt's got a weapon now, and I was just about to remark before that on the nice swag backwards bonk he did over... Is that a lever? I never remember which enemy is the one that comes out of the ground and doesn't move.
Oh, the sand snake thing? Yeah, I don't know what it's called.
But yeah, you don't see that sort of a bonk over it very often, because usually runners go into Desert Palace when they have a hand weapon, but you know, the seed was just pointing there, and if nothing else, Mega's gotten the hammer now, so...
Yeah, that's the tech I like to see, and it's a lot more difficult to perform than it looks, because it's easy to be hit by the snake or to grab the rail instead of bonk into it, and flippers and Moon Pearl in the Uncle area as well.
And Cape as our other Desert Palace item. We have just been seeing so many early items this seed.
Yeah, not very many in CAC, but definitely elsewhere. These are all what we would call Sphere 1 locations.
Yeah, and to see both of the items in Uncle area be useful and both of the items in Desert be useful, that's not something you see very often.
Yeah, pretty dense so far. So LackAttack deciding to come over here and finish escape while they're there. They do have the 10 bombs to be able to do bombs escape, but are deciding to do some stun strats as well. Nice use of the hookshot there. It's of course optimal to avoid the stun strats, but it does make it like much more consistent.
And speaking of hookshot, Megawatt just picked up his. So now let's see if he decides to do the water walk, since we've now discovered it's not even breaking logic because flippers were near Uncle.
Oh yeah, so chat asking like they don't need Moon Pearl to do water walk. Yeah, I just want to clarify that it would be possible for them to check everything in Zora's domain with just the boots. Oh, I want to check out this bomb setup here from LackAttack. Nice, that looks practiced. I didn't know you could lure the guard up to the top that easy. But yeah, so it is totally possible to check all the items, but because of the way the Waterfall Fairy Cave works, you would have to do it in an inefficient sequence. So it's more efficient to have the Moon Pearl before you go there, if you're trying to do a boots walk method to check all the items.
But given that Megawatt did not save and quit, it looks like he's setting up for it.
Yeah, we saw him do the dash next to the pit, so it is armed, and he's going to activate it now. Nothing else in escape, though, for LackAttack. Save and quits out. And Megawatt going straight to Zoro's domain instead of checking the hobo and the island. Now, when he comes in here and checks these chests, he will no longer be in a water walk state and can't leave.
Especially since getting that piece of heart that gave him a heart refill took him out of water walk.
That saved him.
Left.
Actually, that saved him. He ordinarily would have been stranded and not be able to leave the cave, but because it healed him, it put him back into... I've never seen that before. That was calculated.
I knew that getting a fourth piece of heart in there put you into fake flipper mode instead of water walk mode, but I did not know that then wound up saving you.
Yeah, well, if you entered with a boots walk with no moon pearl, then that's exactly the scenario. And LackAttack getting the power glove, so thank whoever that Megawatt got that fake flipper from inside that heal, because that could have caused them to isolate that glove for...
And that also is our runner's Dark World access, or not that either of them has Dark World access yet, but we know where Megawatt needs to go to get the Moon Pearl, we know where LackAttack needs to go to get the hammer, so AGA 1 will not be seen in this seed.
So we're kind of syncing up here. LackAttack having done Desert first, Megawatt having... Or sorry, I'm getting it backwards, aren't I?
We won't hold it against you.
But yeah, they have a little bit of checks different, you know, Escape and Desert.
And once they do each other's checks, it'll be on to the Dark World, because, I mean, maybe one of them will try Sahastra's Closet, but it seems less likely once they already have Dark World access.
Yeah, with that hook shot, they also might be thinking about Death Mountain at this point with those power gloves.
Yes, that would be a logic break without the lamp or the flute, but it's a pretty easy cave to traverse blind.
Yeah, when you're at this point, like, you know, thinking about going back to Escape or going back to Desert Palace, thinking about doing the Death Mountain is a very dense check that you might not have to double dip, whereas those other checks, you know, are not quite as dense. But they are doing Back of Escape first. That makes a lot more sense than what I'm talking about.
And I wonder if Megawatt's just going to traverse the entirety of Escape backwards, since he hasn't done the front yet.
Well, you can't get all the way to the front from the back. You could get to Dark Cross, but there is a unopenable door if you come through the dungeon backward.
Oh, I didn't realize that wasn't opened in open mode.
Yeah, unfortunately. Otherwise, that would be super cool, and all sorts of stuff would be possible.
But yes, I just realized Megawatt's probably going to check Bonk Rocks now. No, he's not. He's orphaning it. Is he just not thinking about... And so is LackAttack. Are they just not thinking about how unusual it is to have the boots this early?
Yeah, I mean, this is a common early thing. Like when you first get gloves and have stuff to check, you go up, check... Oh, hey, Megawatt's going...
He just remembered, but Lack did not.
Yeah, there will be more opportunity for Lack to remember to check it. Hopefully it doesn't get orphaned. I mean, it's just 10 arrows, but so I guess it doesn't matter. If it's orphaned, it's good news for LackAttack. Having to do this room in the dark with only the hook shot. And looks like they just found the old man. So pretty well traversed there. Let's see how Megawatt does. Oh, they found the old man ages ago. They were a lot further in the dark room than I thought. Yeah, that was really fast for just the hook shot.
Old man didn't have anything useful, but we'll get to see what's on and in Spectacle Rock over here. No way to go up it without the mirror. Nothing useful. But Lack can now hookshot over to the east side.
Chat pointing out that LackAttack did bonk rocks at some point when we weren't looking.
Oh, thank you, chat. And specifically, thank you, Tracker.
that red beetle getting in the way a little bit of this check decides not to go up. The play to go up to that right side would is often done when you have the mirror so that you can block cancel, but it can't be done in this situation.
Now, the other thing to note here is with Megawatt already having gotten the hammer, he can go all the way around. He can't collect Ether Tablet, but he can check it, and he can go into Tower of Hera, and as long as it's not fire-locked, he can beat it.
Ooh, and there is the mirror for lock attack.
So I guess he can go up to the Tower of Hera area, too.
Yeah, may not choose to do that right away without a fire source, but at least it makes it so they're not as concerned about having come up here without the hammer. They can easily get to Tower of Hera when they so choose.
And they do have the hook shot. Ooh, there's the first sword. That's nice. They do have the hook shot, so they could do the Hera pot clip if they wanted to.
Wow, first bottle and another sword.
Yeah, Paradox Cave really paying off. I feel like a lot of seeds lately, it's been a lot of garbage, so it's nice to see it have some good stuff for a change.
Sweet bomb jumps from both runners.
And now Lack's gonna check Spiral Cave because he doesn't have the hammer, so there's nothing else he can do up here.
Yeah, if Megawatt decides to go on to Tower of Hera, Spiral Cave could be a bit easier for them to orphan, so this could be a significant check. But it's just 50, so we're good.
Heck, with a glove, hammer, cape, and bottle, Spike Cave is actually in logic while they're up here. I don't expect Megawatt to check it, but it is technically in logic. Oh, he doesn't have the Moon Pearl, never mind.
Ooh, Lack going to escape. Or, I mean, not to escape, but are they going to Aghanim? Because they're the one who did escape already, correct?
I think he just realized.
I think that they were considering the Aghanim play, but realized they didn't have Lamp, or maybe they were thinking about the Dark Cross.
Oh, and it looks like Tower of Hera is fire-locked. There was the key in the map in the first two chests, and Megawatt is doing the Herapot clip.
Yeah, nice Herapot clip there.
So he will not be able to open the big chest, so...
but muscle memory,
realized.
yeah.
There's one item, just 10 arrows. We've
Discover
also learned from Sahasrala that Turtle Rock is the green pendant, so... As we were saying about medallions earlier, you never know when they won't be necessary. Megawatt using very nice hammer strats on Moldorm there. 3 hits is all it takes, it just has a small hitbox.
Ooh, LackAttack going to Eastern before going to Desert. So we know that their progression is, logical progression is in Desert. That doesn't mean that there isn't progression here, though. It is kind of a risky move to come to Eastern without the bow. So if there's progression here at all, this could be a saving grace for them. Otherwise, this could be a big opportunity where they lose a bit of time.
I have to wonder, though, Moldorm just gave us the Ice Rod, and Sahasrala just told us that Turtle Rock is the green pendant, and we've been getting these early medallions. Do we think Sahasrala has something useful on him?
Oh, yikes. Could be. I mean, the earlier you get an item, the more likely it is to lead to progression, inversely proportional to how many locations it unlocks. And the Ice Rod unlocks 1 or 2 locations, which is, in our case, because of the green pendant. 3 if you count pedestal, but let's not go there, right? Well, we already went there. Never mind. It's not the
pedestal. We went there less than 2 minutes in.
Yeah, that's right.
I'm guessing... Oh, right. Megawatt's now gonna do Escape and hopefully Uncle to get his Moon Pearl and Flippers.
fact, if all they checked here was just the well chest, that would be good for them. Wouldn't be a very common play you'd see from somebody, however. Oh, there is progression in Eastern.
We've been finding a lot of progression.
Possible progression, I guess I should say, because we don't yet know if Misery Mire is a crystal.
If nothing else, it'll reduce the number of save and quits, and given the lag of saving and quitting in version 31, I'm sure the runners are happy to see it.
Yeah, this early in the run, like, let's just assume that, like, Bo is late. If Bo was very late and Megawatt didn't go to Eastern Palace till, like, hour 30, having the flute might even just plain make up the time that LackAttack's spending double dipping Eastern, assuming they don't get a bow in this chest right here, and they do not. Megawott is doing the correct thing in terms of their perspective and continuing to finish escape. Meanwhile, LackAttack saving quitting to Sanctuary. Oh, right, to activate the...
Yeah. And then he can get over to Desert a whole lot easier, so I would be surprised if he doesn't do that.
Yeah, at this point, I don't think there's much more they could do.
Well, there's still Tower of Hera with that mirror.
Oh, correct. Right. Yeah.
Speaking of which, did Megawatt check Ether? I don't remember what was on it.
I want to say that they did, but yeah, I can't remember either.
Okay. To answer chat, Hammer is in Desert.
Apparently Ether was a big 50. And LackAttack making the call to go grab their hammer.
Not that he knows the hammer is there, but he's about to find out soon enough.
All right, Megawatt gonna show us what, or maybe not show us, what is in this dark cross room. I like the dash strats here in I love it anytime anybody dashes in a dark room. It's just the coolest thing, I think. Yeah, these dark rooms are very nice and easy and quick when you have the boots. Assuming you know your dark rooms well. But just a piece of heart. That, honestly, that dark room would not have been much slower if they had the lamp. So well done, Megawatt. Or not much faster if they had the lamp. You know what I mean.
And it looks like Megawatt is going to be our first runner in the Dark World, not even 25 minutes in.
Deciding to go to the portal south of Link's house.
It gives an early Hype Cave check.
I love this strategy, especially when you haven't done a Dark World map check yet and you don't know what your crystals are. Um, 300, Piece of Heart, Cane of Burna, and a Heart Piece. So, not the best.
Maybe 2 out of 10? What do you think?
I think whatever the rating is, Paradox definitely wins this seed.
Oh, definitely. Though it would have been funny if Hype had our 2 other swords. Oh, so Lack, meanwhile, is going for his Dark World access by Lost Woods. So he's going to be checking Skull Woods and Village of Outcast Thieves Town area first.
Yeah, I still think that Megawatt hasn't shown us their map yet, so we don't yet know if this is going to be... LackAttack coming back up, checking the ped. They didn't check this at the beginning, and now are thinking about... This is a good time to check it as well.
Watt has just found the powder, which puts Magic Bat in play, and I don't think either of our runners went back. Oh, there's our map check. I saw a blue pendant in Pod. I saw 5, 6 in Thieves. I did not catch where the third pendant was.
Save us, Link Force.
He says it's ice.
Aha! So we almost had the scenario where the medallions were totally useless, but Misery Mire is a crystal.
And Lack gives us a nice longer look at it, so the pendants decided to cluster on the east side. So yeah, since Megawatt's in this area and has the mirror, in fact has the mirror out, I wonder if he's gonna go up and check Magic Bat and Sick Kid.
Yeah, having just recently acquired the powder.
Seems likely with that mirror. And Lack's already in Thieves Town.
Yeah, Megawatt didn't, I mean, other than the powder, so we'll see if this leads anywhere, but didn't really get anything by going the south of Link's house route first into the Dark World. And yeah, just a big 50. And there is the third medallion already, so you don't have to worry about that. So we saw 3 items in the front of Thieves Town, still one more hanging out somewhere in this dungeon, but it's okay. We want to do the dungeon anyway. It is a crystal.
And it's full clearable. Okay, so those 2 extra checks in CAC just gave us more money. And now it looks like Megawatt's gonna use that same portal. Check the same regions as Lack.
Oh yeah, chat pointing out that if Lack doesn't have Bombos, that means that they didn't check Agina, which I didn't even realize. They must have save and quit out of Desert.
That's true.
So if that is the Misery Mire pendant, yeah, gotta hope that they would like chain that in with Checkerboard or something. And by pendant, I mean medallion.
Well, yeah, on the bright side, if it is what's needed for Misery Mire, at least it's really easy to get to from Misery Mire.
Exactly, yeah. It would be under the doormat, as it were.
Oh, and I don't think Lack did the brewery yet, so we'll see it from Megawatt. Just a piece of heart.
Sounds like LackAttack has half beep speed on, so Man of Culture confirmed. That is the correct beep speed, if you were wondering.
At least the correct beat speed if you do not want to drive comms and chat crazy.
All right, so the small key locks itself, and Blind is going to have her final item here.
Megawatt now has a full coin collection.
LackAttack so far following the script.
Yeah, doing quite an efficient job of it.
I think they got a little bit off script there, but still a very fast blind kill.
But not a useful item. And unless Mire turns out to be Ether, we got nothing useful out of Thieves Town, other than, well, a 5/6 crystal, which you really can't complain about.
I've got to imagine that this, because of where they entered the Dark World, this might set LackAttack on a route to kind of go south and cover Megawatt's ground with Hype Cave. But Megawatt will be in a different position in which they might go up and check Graveyard Ledge and Skullwoods. So their route, because of how they entered the Dark World, might cause them to do slightly different things here.
And Bumper Ledge, which is available thanks to the Cape.
Oh, good point. So maybe LackAttack will go up as well then, in that case, because it's a little bit juicier for check. But after these checks, there's really not, a lot that is really obvious to do if they don't get any progression. Like, there's stuff to check, but it's, like, not nice.
Swamp is full clearable, and a crystal.
You're right. That does make a lot of sense.
I mean, runners don't like to do Swamp this early because you're pretty much guaranteed to be doing left side if you're doing it this early. But...
yeah, one of the things about Swamp early accessibility is there are so many items required to full clear. And when you get them all so early, it's a very strong hint that there is something there. But if you do check Swamp early, it's really hard to choose to skip left side if it has an item.
I mean, alternatively, there's Pod and Catfish, but I don't think they really want to go around there without the bow if they can help it.
As a pendant dungeon, Pod is actually kind of a nice idea, because you might not care really that you don't get to finish Helmasaur, and you could check everything else with glitches. Megawatt getting off the script a little bit here as well, so we'll see how they do off script. I love watching off script blind fights, because it really shows you more of the skill of a runner than how they follow the script, in my opinion, but does a very short job of it.
So your first guess about LackAttack was right. He is following the southern route here.
Ah, so didn't follow that that Cape hint.
Yeah, I was kind of wondering about that early Cape, if it signifies anything, because we know it's not needed for Aga.
Oh, Megawatt saving and quitting, though.
They just don't want to show us the north side.
I guess this is the Swamp play. It is a crystal you can full clear. And why go up and be tempted to check Skull and, those other one-off locations when you have a crystal you can full clear? LackAttack showing us some chess turns there.
Yeah, so Megawatt's already chasing after his third crystal 35 minutes in. Pretty nice progression, all things told. Really, we just need a Fire Rod, a bow, and the Cane of Samaria.
Wow, is that it? That is insane.
Yes, we'll need the Fire Rod for Skull Woods, and it would put Hera in logic and allow us to finish Desert.
Of course, we also need the mitts.
Oh, right. We've been doing such a good job without them, sometimes it's easy to forget.
Yeah. Yeah, unfortunately, there is no variation of the randomizer except for, well, with the tournament settings that we're using, except for Fast Ganon, which can possibly even allow you to avoid having the mitts. Regardless of if Ice Palace, Misery Mire, and Turtle Rock are pendants, you still need the mitts to get to Ganon's Tower. Which just frustrates me to no end. I don't know about you.
Only when Ice Mire and Turtle Rock are all pendants on those rare gift occasions when all I need the mitts for is GT. It's frustrating.
So I like to take a look here and see how far their sprite stops in the cutscene, like how far left. It's kind of an interesting little execution cue you can pick up on. Oh, LackAttack going for a dash, so unfortunately we can't directly compare. For folks who don't know, that lever, you can actually leave the lever as it's still being pushed, which just allows you to gain like a couple few pixels of advantage so that you're further when the cutscene starts. It's one of those small execution things which is really easy to miss, but those little things, like how you line up with doors when you start your dashes, really add up to several minutes by the time the run is over.
Oh, Megawatt's going straight for the back, even though he found a vanilla compass and therefore knows there is at least one item right side. Oh, left side, excuse me.
And LackAttack, yeah, doing this left side first route. If you are going to have to come in and do left side, now it's sometimes more efficient to do it first, but it depends on where the big key is.
Oh, that's true. If the big key is on Argus, then it's easier to, do all those three at the same time. That is the two left side checks and the big chest check.
Yeah, either Argus or this chest that Megawatt just passed up here can be a bummer to find the big key.
Yeah, and that chest was the map, so now we know that if Argus doesn't have the big key, there are two items between the big chest and left side, and if he does, there are three items between the big chest and left side.
Yeah, so either way, Megawatt going to be very tempted to return into the dungeon for a left side. But whether or not Lack or Megawatt's route is more efficient just depends on that big key placement here.
Megawatt doing a very nice job with the two Argai spin strats.
Left side has just a red rupee and 10 arrows.
So it might be that the big key locks itself if Argus isn't about to drop it.
Yeah, it could be. But no dice.
This is one of only two dungeons where the big key is allowed to lock itself. So
yeah, and just wanted to point out. Sorry, I was talking over you there for a second there. I just got so excited about Megawatt's ice rod strats on Argus. It is very difficult to do that quickly. Or at least it's difficult enough that you have to practice it. You can't just pull that out.
Yeah, it doesn't shoot as fast as the fire rod and can really throw off runners' tempos. So, if the big chest doesn't have anything, this full clear of swamp was a total bust again, except for getting another crystal out of it.
And it is 10 arrows. Oh no. So just by simple virtue of the big key being on Argus, I do believe that Megawatt's route here was like very, very slightly more efficient, but it doesn't make a huge difference in the end.
So what do we have left at this point? We have the front of Skull Woods, as you were discussing, and that also is near Bumper Cave, Graveyard Ledge, and King's Tomb. Then we have Pod, Pyramid Ledge, and Catfish. And then we have Spike Cave. I think we've seen everything else that's accessible.
Yeah, from a runner's perspective, all of those are kind of like stuff you don't want to consider right now because they're less than ideal for one or more reasons to check. But because you have all bad options, you have to pick one. LackAttack still hasn't been up to Tower of Hera, and seeing as that is a crystal, they may decide to go up. But whether or not they feel confident with their Hera pot skip could make the difference between their decision to go up or not.
Right, because Lack doesn't know this, but as it turns out, the Harapot skip at the moment is the only way to get up since we don't have a fire source. And
Yeah,
the
and
key is vanilla.
if you can't do the Harapot skip, you know, there's all you're very aware that it's possible you might end up double dipping if you go up without a fire source. Both players finishing the dungeon at just about the same time and having entered it relatively close to the same time too. Although LackAttack will have to go back in for the big.
Ooh, Mega's going to check Bombos, which he can now activate with that Master Sword. I totally forgot Bombo's tablet was in play.
Megawott coming back to the Dark World.
Where's he going now?
This could be a route towards the Pyramid Ledge or Pod.
Yeah, that's what I'd guess is most likely. Yeah, he's got the hammer out. Looks like Lack has the same idea with checking Bombos.
So now Megawatt was the one who went to Zoro's domain before, but stopped at Waterfall Fairy Cave, did not check the ledge, did not check Zora. So they could be thinking here about going up to Catfish and going those other Zora ledge checks while they're up there, or Zora domain check. And here's that Aghanim cave. Oh,
yeah.
But
oh.
shots across first. I guess. Interesting. So this is a way to kind of get back to these North Dark World checks. They could still be chaining this with a Catfish Zora's domain.
And meanwhile, Lack finally completed his coin collection.
This is really smart. Even if this was just to check these North locations, Megawatt knowing here that with just the Power Gloves and the Hammer and no Flute, it's faster for them to walk around from the pyramid to this north side than it would be to save and quit.
So it looks like Lack's going to the same general area.
Oh, apparently chat informing me that Megawatt did indeed check Zora's domain already.
Oh, right. They got their blue mail at almost exactly the same time, in fact.
Might be. And by chat, of course, I also mean our tracker. Thank you, tracker.
Oh, and Megawatt is not interested in Bumper Ledge, but Lack's going to that area.
Yeah, that's an interesting skip. I mean, like, I guess if you're going to come back for Catfish, you don't want to be tempted to go into Skullwoods, and that might be their next play anyway. Oh, my goodness.
So that early cape was definitely telling us something, and Lack gets murder-dactyled.
Dang, if that hadn't have killed him, that would have been a nice D-boost there to help him throw the block.
But he saw what's on the ledge, he knows he has to go back for it.
And the Canis Samaria at Catfish. Oh my goodness, that is really a bad spot for LackAttack for that cane to be. Megawatt can't get in too much trouble before they pick up those mitts because the mitts lock so much of the game. But it's very easy to isolate the Catfish, and LackAttack is just about to pick up those mitts, which again unlocks so much.
Oh, but Megawatt, right, hasn't been into Eastern yet, therefore doesn't have his flute, therefore he's going to this portal the long way around. Because my first thought was, why didn't he...
Yeah, I think that having avoided the Skull Woods area, the bumper ledge, is just hard. Making this hard roll to try to find the fire rod before going in that area and save a little bit of time.
But yes, now we're just down to fire rod and bow for us to be in no mode.
If Megawatt is lucky enough to find a bow here, that could be very good for them, picking up their flute, which will be required eventually.
I mean, theoretically, the fire rod and a bow could both be in pod. At that
Yeah,
point,
that would be...
Go ahead.
Oh, I'm just going to expand on what you were probably going to say, but that would be quite nice for Megawatt.
I was just going to say, though, that, at that point you're looking at Master Sword Silverless, so you probably want to keep opening chests on the way.
All right, so LackAttack gets those myths on the second try, getting past those Murder-Dactyls, which have killed all of us at some point. But we can see that was quite an expensive death. Megawatt able to go over to Catfish, pick up the Canis Maria, and get all the way over to Pod in the time that it took them to grab those myths. So a really unfortunate death that could end up making a significant difference in this race here.
And a key in that first chest also means that Pod is not bow-locked, so anything in the back is in logic.
Yeah, that is good information to have. And there's the big key. Now, if Megawatt gets the small key in this drop down, do you check the vanilla big key location? And they don't, though, so the rest of the dungeon is now locked behind the bow.
Oh, right, because you can get one... Oh, right, because the vanilla big key location is locked behind itself. Took me a moment to work through that logic.
Yeah, so all the rest of the chests in the front side here all have to be keys. All have to be small keys. Megawatt doing a very fast bottle glitch there to off-screen those mimics.
And Lack using the blue cane to get through Spike Cave. We'll see if it was worth his trouble. It was not.
Ooh, LackAttack getting some health, so plans on exiting. They must be thinking about going up to do Tower of Hera next. I don't know if they're going to make it. Usually, you're able to exit via the help of getting some spin speed off those stairs. But they do have a potion.
Still, kind of expensive relative to saving and quitting and just, respawning at Old Man.
Yeah, to be honest, I think it's pretty close if you were to get like a spin speed there, for example, and exit the normal way.
I could understand if Aga 1 had been beaten and they would have respawned on the pyramid.
Yeah, I'm actually not sure how that plays out in the end. Megawatt here in the dark basement picks up a small key. And a heart container. So I think we've seen 2 items so far from Pod.
We've also seen all the small keys, so everything else has to be an item or a dungeon item. So far, Pod's had a lot of nice-to-haves, 2 heart containers and half magic.
Yeah, those are some nice safeties to pick up at least. But still not quite justifying, in terms of time gained, the trip into Pod here yet. So Megawatt's still hoping to find some kind of progression here.
Oh, and Lack is not doing the Harapok clip, but he can get over to East Death Mountain now that he has the mitts. More health sitting over there in the darkened pod.
Now, I think that was the 5th item in pod that Megawott just picked up, so Helmasaur having the compass or the map.
Indeed. And we see the Turtle Rock is Quake for whatever it's worth. Let's hope we don't have to go in there. But then again, given what we know, the only reason they could possibly have to go in there is if Trinex or Sahasrara has a bow, and that bow locks the other bow.
Nothing in a Hookshot Cave. Megawatt is coming to Eastern, which is a hard choice to make, to just mirror, but I think they're hard rolling into this whole avoiding the Skull Woods area decision, which makes a lot of sense. But they are going to get their flute, so that's good in terms of eating up with LackAttack here, especially if the bow or the bows are locked behind that flute. Tempered Sword, however, is a bit of a payout for this East Stiff Mountain play.
Yeah, especially given how late the bow is showing up, it's likely we'll be doing a Silverless Ganon, and Temper Sword is a huge gain over Master Sword in that case.
LackAttack now coming back to this area could be to finally do that Skull Woods dip. Or, oh yes, right, now that he has mitts, it could also be the Smith Chain. So after Megawatt's just picked up their flute, and after this, they're not going to really have much other choice than to... I mean, I guess they could check Spike Cave, but they're going to get to that bumper sooner rather than later.
So Lack's taking a conservative Skull Woods play, which is to say he's going to the back first, rather than dropping down a hole and risking getting stuck without a key, though if he dropped down, there are 3 chests, it would be highly unlikely none of them contained keys.
Yeah, it definitely can be possible, but yeah, it is pretty unlikely.
And even key in hand, he's not dropping down. He's gonna go around. I guess that allows him to immediately mirror out if he gets the 2 items. Or mirror back to check the big chest.
Well, there's a single arrow in Skullwood so far.
And the other items is either in the big chest or locked behind Fire Rod.
Okay, here Megawatt comes back into the North Dark World, so Bumper Ledge and Skullwood's very likely plays. We'll see if they decide to go Skull first. In an efficiency perspective, that would make a lot of sense. But LackAttack not getting another item here in Skullwoods.
Yeah,
so
LackAttack... Oh, go ahead.
Oh, I was just going to say, LackAttack leaving must mean now we're going to check out the Smith Chain.
Yeah, and I was just going to say that Megawatt is going to get an Arrow of Destiny here, and then he's basically going to have to go to Bumper Ledge.
Yeah, not much else for him to do at this point.
Having gotten that red cane from Catfish, though, he had a much easier time in that room.
Yeah, that early cane already saving him time. So with those mitts, this is my concern here for LackAttack. It would be very hard to decide at this point to go check Catfish all on its own lonesome before you decide to do Crystal Mire, hoping that the Cane is there, which is a very common meta play right now, or to go to Pendant Ice Palace. And that would be, it could be bad news for LackAttack, you know, assuming that there isn't some important piece of progression in Ice or something. They do find the bow on the Smiths, though.
Well, that completely rules out Trinex and Green Pendant.
Right, because at this point, all we're really looking for is that Fire Rod. Oh, and doesn't have quite enough magic to check the powder, but no Red Cane to do fake powder either.
You can do fake powder with the powder?
You can, actually, yeah, just in the same way.
I don't think I ever knew that.
My favorite is using the fake powder with actual powder to powder a dead rock so it turns into an enemy that is stunnable so that you kill it to get the full magic stun drop.
That's seriously meta.
I think you mean seriously metal, but I'll say it. Megawatt getting their mitts now. So both a crystal up, having done Tower of Hera already, but also, more importantly, with that Cane at Catfish, very easy place to isolate. And LackAttack is going to come to the Mire area.
Well, I guess we'll find out what's here. Only 5 items all told.
Now, a saving grace for Megawatt is that bow location on the Smith, it's like not the worst place in the world to check. They will get 3 items by doing that chain altogether, but it is quite a slow chain. And compared to some of the crystals that Megawatt can do, it might be important, the fact that LackAttack found that bow there and Megawatt doesn't have it yet.
Vanilla piece of heart and checkerboard cave, so Mire area is turning up a bust, and Lack is not going to dive the dungeon without the Cane.
And then we all heave a sigh of relief only for them to flute to 8. Which I gotta think is gonna mean there's the magic they need to do the front room of Ice Palace, that they're gonna do Ice Palace now.
Oh boy.
Now this is gutsy. Like they have 1,100 rupees. They could very easily have fluted, bought some potions at the Witch, but coming to Ice Rod with like hardly any magic and hardly any health, I have to say is a great sign of respect for their opponent. I like it when people skip safeties and they do something a little bit risky, because it really says that they are counting the minutes, they're counting the seconds, and they know that every moment matters against their opponent.
And meanwhile, Megawatt has opened Turtle Rock, which makes me wonder if he's gonna go into it after he does Super Bunny and Hookshot. Which isn't that bad of an idea, because it's however far you can get without the Fire Rod, and if he gets the Fire Rod, we're in no mode, though he doesn't know that the bow isn't further in.
And for all we know, there could be the second bow further in. Yeah, we'll see. This is an interesting... it would be a very interesting play for them to head into Turtle Rock right now. But they are exiting, so here we go.
We already have one Bless RNG request in chat to perhaps have an item in Compass Room and prevent Megawatt from going any further. Yeah, the way this works is as long as Megawatt keeps finding keys, he can keep going deeper.
But
That
gets
is not
bailed
a
out.
key,
Yeah, that is a nice bailout for Megawatt there.
So the entire rest of Turtle Rock is Fire Rod locked, and hopefully by the time the runners find the Fire Rod, they will be in go mode and never have to go into Turtle Rock again.
This is a little bit of a careful route, I want to say, that Megawatt's on. Having come up to East Death Mountain, checking Spike Cave, like just being complete in the overworld, I would say that's pretty careful considering that Meyer is a crystal and can be done completely. But yeah, I mean, assuming that he did get his progression here, both progression items, he could go mode Meyer. But it could be that just really doesn't want to get burned by leaving these items up here.
Also, there are 2 items in Meyer. One of them could be the Fire Rod.
Yeah, that is very true. Oh, that is the other. I am just now realized why he's not going to Meyer right away. Why he did this first. Without a fire source, there are chests that are locked in Meyer.
Oh,
so he doesn't want to leave those behind.
I keep forgetting they have no fire source whatsoever.
It is really unusual to be this late in the game with no fire source. Well, not like insanely unusual, but unusual enough that unless you think about it, you might miss it. But it is incredibly unusual to have a situation where you go to Meyer without a fire source.
What have we seen so far in Ice besides the red meringue? Anything?
Sorry, what was the question? Besides,
Oh, I know Lack picked up the red meringue in Ice. I'm wondering if we've seen any other items yet.
Oh yeah, unfortunately I haven't been counting items.
Well, there's one.
And they are still checking chests, so I gotta think that they have one left to find.
And there it is.
Yeah, they know Pedestal is not alive, so that's their cue to exit.
And Megawatt is going into Meyer.
LackAttack now also coming to the Meyer area means they're probably also considering going into Meyer. Oh, but no, they're going to flute away. It might have just been like a misclick, or maybe you wanted to double check. I'm not sure what the map check was, to be honest.
Well, if he's in this area, maybe he'll continue over to Catfish afterwards. Also, this is a good time for us to say, please do give these runners a follow. I mean, it's been a really close tournament for both of them so far. They've played quite well. It's just kind of dumb luck that they're in the loser's bracket, not the winner's bracket. And yeah, they've still got some games left.
Nice Death Warp heal setup from LackAttack there. Oh, but they had a fairy!
He doesn't need a Death Warp anyway because he has a mirror.
I think the intention was more to get the death heal.
Oh,
and there is Fire Rod in Meyer. So we are now in no mode. That bow location though could really easily bite Megawatt. Assuming that they can't pick up the bow somewhere else on the way in a crystal dungeon here. So it's really hard to call this. I mean, between the bow location and the Candace Mario location, I gotta think that it's gonna be easier for Megawatt to route in the bow than for LackAttack to route in the cane, but it is really hard to say. That Fire Rod could bring them back into Turtle Rock to try to find another bow.
I mean, for all we know, there's a bow on Mothula.
That's true. Yeah, if there is a bow in a crystal dungeon on the way, then that will be nice, definitely, and really cement this for Megawatt.
But in the meantime, he has the ability to finish Eastern and Skull Woods, and we know... No, not Eastern. Desert and Skull Woods. Though we found both items in Desert, so it's really just that one item in Skull Woods. Looks like Lack has not been counting keys.
Yeah, otherwise would know that these two chests are keys and are skippable. Or not these two chests, rather. Oh, no, so that's why, because there was an item remaining, since he did...
So in case that was a key, he might have been orphaning an item in Big Chest, I see.
Yeah, so I think because he did right side first, he had a little bit different key knowledge than Megawatt did.
Yeah, the standard is if the shooter room chest is a key to check the bridge chest next.
Yeah, personally I'm a fan of LackAttack's route that they did, though, where even if it is a key, you go right. Because it really is kind of like a 50-50 either way. You might be able to deduce where the other keys are and skip chests. But yeah, that is the standard route for sure, is to check the bridge chest first.
And Megawatt is going to be in a very long game of ping pong here.
Yeah, this is a good moment where LackAttack can save some time on this second phase of Vitreous, because they will have the bow when they come here.
Actually, with Megawatt being here and with him being able to clear Desert, I wonder if he might finish off Desert and then check Pyramid Fairy.
Yeah, now that they've got that fire source.
He's certainly going to finish off Desert now.
LackAttack has to be careful here in this dark room, down to 2 hearts, and no longer has that safety of the fairy. He can afford to take 2 hits from these Kadongos before dying.
Now, we know there's nothing useful here, but it'll be hanging over him that he orphaned the chest.
But he makes it through just fine.
So he's not finishing off Eastern. Eastern's a crystal. Why wouldn't he just mirror and finish it if he's there anyway?
Yeah, that is interesting. Maybe just might not be thinking about it in the moment. I think that they did find all 3 items there anyway. But there's no reason to not check it now. It can be really easy, like if you have a route in your head, to just follow it.
Megawatt having a little bit of trouble with Fire Rod strats on Landmos, but thanks to that half magic, it's not troubling him too much.
Ooh, our tracker Linkforce telling me that there actually is an item on Armos Knights. So yeah, that, I mean, in this seed, it actually doesn't matter, other than the time they're going to have to come back to check Armos Knights. But that is a a mistake, I would say, to forget to do Armos Knights at that moment.
So I guess Lack is going to be Fire Rod away from Go mode, and with that Cane, maybe he'll take it as a message to go to Meyer.
Yeah, this is a pretty fortunate pickup here for LackAttack to have come up to Catfish. It avoids a lot of trouble they could have got into, but it really does depend on like when they get that Fire Rod.
Oh no, he's doing Turtle Rock. At least we know he's not going to get too far in it. But it is a bit of a waste of time.
Megawatt wrapping up another crystal dungeon that they can complete. So after they finish Skullwoods, they're not going to have like a red carpet anymore that's telling them exactly where they're supposed to go. They don't just have crystals to clear. They're going to have to start thinking about pendants and overworld checks. So we'll see where they decide to go after this.
Yeah, and well, the thing that's buying Megawatt time is that Lack is spending a couple of minutes to, well, as we know, get a heart container out of Turtle Rock. But at least he won't be in there too long.
Yeah, LackAttack is down in crystals quite a bit, but this race could still easily swing around depending on when Megawatt decides to go grab that bow or find a different bow on the way.
I mean, he is in the neighborhood, so... Well, he's first going to check that one remaining chest because he knows there's still one item in Skull Woods. But then he's in the neighborhood, so if you were ever going to do Smith's Chain, now would be the time.
Lack going Turtle Rock first is really interesting. You might decide if you were kind of commit to a Turtle Rock play to check Hookshot Cave. Oh no, they've been to the Dark World before. This is just Turtle Rock they're checking. They've been to East Death Mountain before, I forgot.
I guess he doesn't want to go into Misery Mire without a fire source if he can help it.
Yeah.
Ooh, fetch quest in Skull Woods. That's interesting.
I think it's also important to consider for LackAttack here that maybe they feel a little bit behind, having left that cane where it was. So they kind of made a riskier play, hoping that they might get some kind of progression in Turtle Rock that, that Megawatt might leave behind.
Did Lack not do Magic Bat before?
Yeah, he came here before without magic to check the bat.
Oh, right, now I remember. So Megawatt's going back to this portal, which leads me to believe he's got to be in go mode in short order. And with Lack being here, he's going to be in go mode not much after Megawatt, but then it'll come down to, well, Megawatt has a whole lot more crystals.
Yeah, it's quite the game of catch-up that Lack has to play now. I mean, at least these dungeons are very nice to be able to go mode, but it is going to take a while to catch up with these crystals counts.
Also, just to give Chad a heads up, once the runners finish this race, they're going to take a bit of a breather and then come right back here for race 2 with a new set of comms and a new tracker.
Yeah, so no interviews today since they are going right away into their next match as soon as this one concludes. Or at least not no interviews today, but no interviews after this particular race. There will be interviews to follow.
And Megawatt hits go mode at about 1:15:37.
Yeah, this is an absolutely commanding lead right now.
Yeah, it's amazing to see one runner hit go mode 6 crystals in and the other runner hit go mode 2 crystals in.
I think this really comes down to that Ice Palace play. You know, I think it was Lack, right, who went into Ice Palace, didn't find anything. So I think that doing that also is what caused them to go into Turtle Rock, because they fell behind after that play, and it just all kind of cascaded from there.
I can smell Lack's go mode beckoning to him. There we go, 1:16:48. So a mere minute 11 after Megawatt.
Yeah, in terms of getting go mode, that's very close. It's just the crystal discrepancy, which is hard to make up for.
Does Lack not know he's in go mode?
Oh, it could be. It could be trying to find the lamp. Maybe they don't want to have to do these rooms in the dark in Mire. These can be pretty hard rooms unless you've practiced them.
True.
And you could, and depending on your confidence in these dark rooms, you could stand to actually gain time by doing this cutscene chest to grab the lamp. It could also be hunting for silvers.
Yeah, I just feel like if you're more than an hour and a quarter in, you just hit go mode and you've only completed 2 crystals. And by the way, that is Megawatt's 7th crystal, so I gather the bot still isn't working, but we do have a little game to play. There are 22 chests in the basement of Ganon's tower. Any one of them could hold the big key. If you would like to guess, please enter an integer from 1 to 22. What's your guess, Kern?
I always guess 24.
I see that now there in chat.
It wins for me.
I've seen someone win on 24 once.
LackAttack, though, making short work of this dark room, it looks like, so I don't think it was a hunt for the lamp, because they seem to be pretty confident in here.
Well, hopefully the comms for the next match will get to ask the runners about some of their choices in this match, because we're not going to be able to.
Yeah, definitely a few interesting moments that I'm going to be wondering about. We might forward on some of our questions to the comms, and save your questions as well, chat. If you stick around for match 2 between these two runners, then yeah, let comms know what kind of questions you'd like them to ask. We always love to hear that. Pulling out some NMG strats here on Vitreous. I like it.
That was very efficient.
Yeah, I didn't quite get the 0 cycle, but it's all good. They've got these arrows, so that's going to be a much faster phase 2 for LackAttack.
Hey, and there's another bottle, and this one has blue goo.
Looking at the remaining dungeons, these are all very, very fast go mode dungeons. But yeah, Megawatt being in Ganon's tower, it's a pretty hard gap to overcome. But I guess I just say that to point out that despite the crystal discrepancy between these runners, it's not as big of a difference between them as it might appear if you're just looking at crystal count.
Yeah, because Lack's been into most of these dungeons, he just needs to go straight to the boss.
Exactly.
Well, big key is not on the right side, so we are 6 chests in. You know, all told, I don't think anything really trolled the runners this seed.
Yeah, I think that the cane is probably the biggest troll. I mean, anything that's on Catfish can be really bad when you're following the normal meta route. But especially when it's an item like the cane, which doesn't unlock very much. Like if it's the mitts, then you're not going to get too deep into a seed before you have to go check Catfish anyway. But when it's an item like the cane, it can very easily be your go mode item. It can be really punishing.
And Stalfos room contained both the butter sword and silver arrows, so we are going to have a lightning Ganon fight there. And since we know the big key isn't on right side, Lack's gonna go through there too. Shovel in chest number 12, which means if this were key sanity, I'd say the big key would have to be in the shovel spot.
Now we're on to Rando room.
I was going to say, one thing about Lack not finishing Hera is that he can do Hera and then immediately go into GT if he sets up a mirror portal.
Yeah, that is always nice, is to be able to chain those two together when you're in go mode. Save yourself another trip up Ganon's tower. And it's not in Rando room, so we're running out of places.
Yeah, we got Bob's chest, the vanilla room, and tile room.
Everybody's favorite. Megawatt stopping to pick up these arrows here. They do have silver arrows, so might not have been strictly necessary, but is kind of cool to like see that they know that that's there in that pot. Ooh, LackAttack taking a fall here. I don't know if he can still get it in time. Oh, he does just barely get through the room in time.
And the ghost of Bob gets powdered, and that's where the big key was, number 18. Wonder if anyone guessed it. Ruffle Waddle, congratulations.
Oh my god, this moth RNG was terrible. Good fight, LackAttack, but yeah, that was some really unfortunate RNG from the moth, just sticking up on that wall. What you have to do in that scenario, this tech is really difficult, but if you're doing the fight 100% optimal and you get RNG like that, you have to do a poke dash to get moth off the wall, but it is very hard to accomplish that.
So now it'll be time for Lack to finish off Eastern.
Yep, and then they just have Tower of Hera and Ganon's Tower to go do. Nice ice physics knowledge from Megawatt. Like, I love when you see people move very cleanly across ice on the diagonals. It shows that they've given that a lot of prep.
And that was a nice fast gauntlet and a nice fast Landmo too. And I was thinking with Gold Sword and Silvers, we're probably looking at a sub 130 seed.
Yeah, this was very, very fast from Megawatt here. And LackAttack is honestly not going to be that far behind. They'll probably be on the mountain when Megawatt goes into Ganon, assuming that everything, nothing goes wrong for Megawatt here. So yeah, assuming that very trolly Catfish Samaria and how that ended up turning out for LackAttack and made them kind of double down on their gambles, I would say that this is like a surprisingly, I'm surprised by the fact that there's not more distance, between them right now, to be honest.
Well, I mean, as we discussed, the crystals Lack has had to collect after hitting Go mode and after getting out of Maya really haven't taken very long.
Megawatt has defeated Moldorm 2.
But yeah, Megawatt definitely overall had the better routing this seed.
Yeah, it certainly paid off. Yeah, LackAttack is doing the go up the Dark Death Mountain route and then mirror in front of GT to go to Hera, which it just feels so good as a runner when you're able to do that. But at this point, they are probably aware of that. The route that they took was very slow, and they're probably hoping or banking on the fact that maybe hoping that Megawatt might have done the same thing with Catfish. But you can see they're still committed. Like they're still doing speed strats. They're still focused on the game.
And Megawatt, meanwhile, had a nice, efficient Daga 2 fight. I think that was a 3 cycle with a double every cycle.
That is, honestly, if you get a 3 cycle, you feel pretty dang good about your Aga 2. I mean, that's, in a lot of patterns, that's the best you can do.
I'm glad for that notice from the Enrichment Center.
Nice dash strats inside the bat circle. Not really necessary to poke him this many times, but it is fun.
You get out your anger. I mean, he's caused so much trouble over the years.
That's true. But, in Link to the Past Randomizer canon, isn't it Ganon who shuffled the items? So hasn't he also created a lot of joy? In this holiday season, let's all just remember people like Ganon who do the dirty work for us,
Wow, nice triple on Ganon there. And that's all she wrote. GG's to Megawatt.
Yeah, that's just about as good as you could possibly have done that 4th phase there. And Megawatt does finish with an official SRL time of 1:30.19. And looks like LackAttack has seen the finish time, and yeah, this is, I can confirm this is a forfeit. They do have a match coming up right after this.
Yes, we are actually going to turn this over pretty quickly. The next match will start in 14 minutes, so be sure to be back here by then.
Yeah, honestly, very great race, very great showing from both runners, and I think it's hard to say exactly, But I think it really did come down to routing in that catfish and the long-term consequences that had on LackAttack's route and Megawatt's route. But very good game from both runners, so I'm excited to see what happens in game 2 here.
Yeah, and as a reminder, LackAttack gets to change one setting. I'm gonna check for a moment to see which one he decided to change.
While you check that, just looking in IRC here, LackAttack is saying, yeah, I'm definitely learning Harapot right now.
And just to announce the changed setting for the next race, which will now begin in 13 minutes, is that Lack has changed it to 6-6. So the runners will only need to get 6 of the 7 crystals to open GT and defeat Ganon. So should be an exciting seed and maybe even a bit faster than this.
Yeah, so stick around. That will be on Speed Gaming coming up here very soon. Looks like that Sinak and Blackwax are signed up to commentate these matches, so that should be pretty hype commentary duo. Shoutouts to our tracker again for keeping us honest, Linkforce, and also for like having an eidetic memory. I can't believe how often you remembered like how many items you got from dungeons and stuff. So thank you so much for your help. And thanks, Drossi. It was a pleasure commenting with you.
Likewise, yeah, this was fun. And I'm looking forward to just chilling and watching the next seed.
Yeah, for sure. I'm going to be around in chat as well. So hold tight, everybody, and we'll be back soon.